This news update is brought to you by...
They ask us how we do it, how we outrun the world. They ask us, how does it feel to fly? How do we dive headfirst into the deep? And emerge victorious. They ask us if we're afraid, if we're nervous, or if we ever feel lonely, so far away from home. But the truth is, home is always right here with us. Get ready to witness the magic of the Olympic Games like never before.
Welcome to the midweek edition of your Barbados Today news update. It's Wednesday, August the 24th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. In our top story, customers from one of the island's commercial banks are being spared any increase in banking fees, at least for the time being, on the heels of the recent hike in bank asset tax. During last week's budget presentation, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair announced that the tax would rise immediately from 0.2% to 0.35%, sparking fears of increased bank charges. But officials of the First Caribbean International Bank told journalists the tax will affect their bottom line, and they made a case for the levy to be applied to all financial institutions. Mark Hill, the bank's managing director for retail and business banking, says it's still early days yet to assess the impact of the increased tax, but he gave the assurance that the bank will be exhausting all avenues to recoup the additional costs without affecting customers.
You will see that the banks are very aggressive in rates, even in the market today. Their loan and mortgage rates continuously have fallen, and this is not even as a reaction to reduction in MSR. I returned to the island since 2004, and if you do your studies, you will see that loan rates have dropped year on year. So it has been driven not only by reductions in MSR, but the fact that banks are trying to find ways to deploy their capital, and that the market pressures, the competitive pressures between the banks have reduced rates significantly.
During the budget, Minister Sinclair rapped banks for not delivering more benefits to customers after the central bank liberalized the minimum savings rates at commercial banks. But Hill rejected the suggestion, saying there is enough evidence in the market to show that banks have been offering their customers a range of products at improved rates.
We have a lot of capital to deploy, and we have large number we have excess liquidity, and therefore if the market is not taking up that in terms of loans where we make our profits, that is the challenge, that if you're not able to deploy fast enough to make up that loss in revenue. So that is the challenge. But like all private enterprises, this is what we now need to think about in terms of the strategy to find ways and creative ways of maintaining or to recouping this additional expense.
Teenage pregnancies remain a headache for the island's authorities. According to Executive Director of the Barbados Family Planning Association, Juliet Bino-Sutherland, it's a big problem which must be tackled head-on.
Teenage pregnancy continues to be a problem. So it is why we don't want to just encourage the people who are having pregnancies are young women who often cannot afford the pregnancies. So the issue of teenage pregnancy is when you compare Barbados's level of socioeconomic development with that of other comparable countries, we clearly have too many teenagers with unplanned pregnancies.
Bino Sutherland stressed that the answer is not merely condemning young girls who become pregnant or preaching abstinence. While she supports organizations that discourage young people from becoming sexually active, the family planning executive said that more attention must be paid to reducing the number of teenage pregnancies by providing access to information, education, and services.
So we need to give young people access to information and education and services. And it is my understanding that the government through is looking carefully at how it can rationalize the disconnect between the age of consent and the age that young people can access services, so that we can get information and services through to 16 and 17-year-olds. In other words, a 16 and 17-year-old can lawfully have sex, but they cannot come and get access to contraception without parental consent.
In sports now, the International Cricket Council announced today that it will launch a review after 2 tests in the West Indies and South Africa were abandoned due to poor ground conditions. The outcome of the West Indies test against India was branded farcical after only 20 overs of play. The ICC released a statement saying that the outfields at Kingsmead, Durban, and Queen's Park Oval, Port of Spain, were rated as poor by the match referees. The West Indies Cricket Board and Cricket South Africa now have 14 days to respond. Former West Indies captain Viv Richard had also called for an inquiry, describing the situation as unacceptable.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To regional news, in Antigua and Barbuda, a soldier finds himself on the wrong side of the law. 22-year-old Xavier Baltimore, a soldier with the Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force, has been accused of breaking into the private residence of Prime Minister Gaston Brown. Police say Baltimore could be charged with misbehavior in public office, but it is not known if he will be charged with larceny. He is scheduled to appear in court later this week. The soldier was one of several who guarded the Prime Minister's property daily since graduating in May. On the world front, the death toll is rising in central Italy following a devastating earthquake. More than 70 people perished after the magnitude 6.2 quake struck in the wee hours of this morning. Rescue personnel are continuing efforts to save many believed to be under the rubble.
There's a rescue going on in the rubble there. You can see right now they're bringing out someone on a stretcher. Is she alive? It looks like she is, which will be a huge relief to the workers here. The woman is being escorted down to an ambulance. She's waiting for her there. There is some relief among the rescue workers who have spent some time trying to reach her. That woman, the survivor, will now be taken in the ambulance down, first of all through a very damaged road and then perhaps towards a field hospital which has been set up in the grounds of the hospital, which has itself been damaged. But the rescue work here doesn't stop just because they've got one person out of the rubble. Look here on this hill. They're still going. tearing down pieces of rubble, and you can see the kind of numbers of people who are working here. There are some expert relief workers, but there are also people wearing their own clothes. These might simply be volunteers here who've decided not to wait for relief workers. We've decided simply to get things done. And bear in mind the earthquake happened at 3:30 in the morning. That means that most people will have been in their homes. And so the mayor and the relief workers will now be trying to account for everyone so that they can see just how many people may still be stuck in the rubble.
And central Myanmar was also rocked by a powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake this morning. According to reports, the quake, which struck at depth of 84 kilometers, swayed high-rise buildings in the Thai capital of Bangkok. The quake was also felt in the Indian city of Kolkata, rocking tall structures and sending panicked residents out onto the streets. In south and southwestern Bangladesh, close to the border with Myanmar, scared residents also ran into the streets. That's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper email updates and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.